Are you thinking about living in Monroe, Georgia? Well, today I'm going to take you to Monroe and kind of give you a good idea, hopefully a good idea, of what it might be like to live in this city. I'm going to show you the downtown area and kind of walk you around there, as well as show you kind of the local areas. And as well, we're going to talk about the location of Monroe and go a little bit into some of the pros and cons of what it might be like for you to live in Monroe. And by the end of this video, the hope is you can get a good idea of what Monroe has to offer for you. We're going to walk through a couple of the neighborhoods here and show you different price ranges. That way you can see what you can afford within your budget in Monroe, Georgia. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. If you're new to this channel, my name is Samuel Stott, and 2 years ago, my wife and I moved from out west out here to Georgia, and we have loved being here ever since. And so my hope is to help you make your move as smooth as possible to the surrounding area. And so if you want to be the first to know about what it's like to live in Monroe, Georgia, or any of the surrounding areas, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button. That way you can know exactly, be one of the first people to know about the real estate market in the local areas. And without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, to start off our video, I am at a park right in the kind of downtown part of Monroe. And this little park is just a great definition of what you can kind of expect with Monroe and kind of the community. So as you can see right down there, that's where they'll host a lot of their community events, where they're going to have their live concerts and stuff like that. And so you can see that just part of what makes Monroe very special is you have this kind of slower pace of life. And it is a smaller town with only 16,000 people living here. It is still small, but it is growing. And so you do get that feel of kind of a slower pace of life. You have a lot of that fun community built around that. It just makes it a very enjoyable city. So if you end up moving here, just be sure to watch out for those concerts and check those out. And that might be something that might interest you. Another thing that's very important kind of to understand about Monroe is kind of the location. Monroe is situated right kind of between Atlanta and Athens. You're about 30 minutes from Athens, Georgia, which is, the dogs, UGA right there. And then Atlanta, but it's kind of the suburbs of Atlanta. You're about 30 minutes from those suburbs, an hour to an hour 20 to O'Dina Airport. So if you have to fly a lot, this could be a great location for you if you're looking for that small town feel, being able to commute into Atlanta. Because you're close enough to where you can commute, you get there whenever you need to. But far enough where, if you're not going there every single day, you kind of get that affordability and all those other things that a small town has to offer. And so just to kind of keep that in mind, a lot of people here do commute for their jobs. There are jobs here in Monroe, of course, but a lot of people do commute. And so just keep that in mind if that's something you are going to be doing. If you have to commute to kind of Loganville or one of the suburbs of Atlanta, you know that it may be 30 or 45 minutes of a commute. You do have that I-20 that's right down below, pretty easy access to that. Makes it simple to get into Atlanta, but it's just something to keep in mind if that's something that you're looking to pay. All right, I'm just one street down from the downtown part of Monroe, the historic downtown, and so we're going to show you a little bit about that. I had to take a step off because it does get a little bit of congestion there, and so the traffic and just the cars driving by makes it very hard to hear and everything. So that's why I'm a little bit more over here. But one of the things that when my wife and I were looking to move out here to Georgia, and we were really trying to find what city we wanted to live in, we knew we wanted to be in a small town. We just didn't know which one. There's so many to pick from. But Monroe was one that caught our eye, and the kind of storyline, it was pretty funny. But if you know the country singer Tyler Hubbard, he sings 5'9". He was part of Florida Georgia Line. I think he's an incredible country singer. At this time, I really was enjoying a lot of his music, and it was fun because he kept talking about this downtown, this small town that he grew up in, and all this stuff. So one day I just looked it up. I was like, where is he from? And it turns out he's from Monroe, Georgia. And so Monroe kind of came on our sites because of that. And when we first came and visited, we were like, man, this is a great little town. We loved kind of the atmosphere that's here, that small town feel, the local kind of areas, the local stuff that they offer. It just made it kind of felt like we were living the country song. It was really fun. And so what you'll find, and as we're coming up here to the downtown area, I'll kind of give we'll show you a couple of videos and shots of it. But you'll see the downtown has a lot to offer because it is this small feel. So you're gonna have a lot of those local boutiques. You're gonna have a lot of the fun little shops. Like their kids' storybook shop is amazing. Like go check that out. They did such a good job. It's like walking through a storybook. You go in and you're just like, everything in there is so fun. They have like a little Narnia wardrobe that you can walk through and all that. And so as you can kind of see, here's that town hall, center of Monroe. Got the statue, and that's actually the downtown school right there. And so you can see there are some cars there. People will drive through it. It is kind of the main street, so you'll get a little bit of congestion there. But it's just something, you should be aware of. But as well, there's a lot of visitors that come to Monroe. This is, I mean, you can see even now, a lot of people are parking and walking around downtown. It's very lively. And it's because Monroe is actually known for being the antiques capital of Georgia. It's got about 300,000 square feet of antique shops all throughout here. And so you're going to find these malls where there's just antiques from floor to ceiling all over the place. And it's just pretty incredible. So if you're looking for some antiques, furniture shopping, all that stuff, come into Monroe, there's a very good chance you're going to find it because there's just so much to offer in terms of those antiques, which is kind of fun. It makes it really enjoyable. I mean, my wife loves coming down here. We come to Monroe. It's probably her favorite Saturday activity, I'd say, is coming down to Monroe and checking out the antique shops. But as well in this downtown area, you're going to find a lot of that local cuisine. You've got the Row, which is famous city in Monroe. You've got this Monroe Road, and see where that comes from. And then you get the local coffee shops and all that other area. So just being down in the downtown area, you can just go walk through it and just enjoy being in that, that downtown feel. As well, we're going to find some boutiques where you can go shopping and hang out. Now, being a small town, sometimes people get worried that you don't have the local necessities, like the needs fees on a daily basis, and your grocery stores and stuff like that. This isn't like a one stoplight small town. There's 16,000 people living here. They are growing. There is a lot of stuff to offer. You do have, grocery stores like Publix, Walmart. There's a whole shopping center area that's got your Home Depot, other restaurants like bigger kind of main restaurants, as well as you got your Publix and just all those kind of areas. So you don't have to worry about grocery stores. Now, if you want other grocery stores or like a Costco, for example, we don't have a Costco here in Monroe, but you can go out to Athens, which is 30 minutes away. So you're not missing too much there. You have axe throwing here in Monroe. You're going to have fun activities like that in the downtown area. And there's going to be a lot of activities outside. As I showed you the concert area where you can go really rad. You can go walk to the parks. There's a lot of little local parks for the Monroe area, little fishing holes, other places like that. And if you listen to any of those Tyler Hubbard songs, there are some that maybe don't talk about Monroe, but there are some that do. And I'm pretty confident I know where some of those spots are at. So now if you ever listen to his songs, you might be like, oh, I wonder where that's at in Monroe, Georgia. So just kind of a fun little thing to keep in mind. Community events, I've talked about a little bit of the concert hall that they have, a little concert area. We'll do other community events, so it's good to kind of just keep in track of that. You can always follow the Easter Band page and stuff like that. And just get a good idea of what they have to offer. Because you might all of a sudden be like, hey, it's Chocolate Factory Week, and I think it's Chocolate Run. I always forget the name. But essentially it's a week where they just have chocolate. They're just it's a whole chocolate celebration, which is pretty cool. So it's a good time just to kind of keep that in mind. If you end up moving out and go follow your Instagram page, be part of a community, part of all the fun that you have with it, because it's a really lively community in that sense of a small town. My wife always says this as kind of as a funny joke, but I think it's pretty true as I watch this. So she's a big fan of Gilmore Girls, watches all that stuff. So you got Stars Hollow. For any of you that you watch it, know that Stars Hollow is kind of the small town they live in. Monroe is kind of the southern small town, Stars Hollow, I guess you could say. It feels kind of like that because you've got just these fun little activities. I mean, right here, for example, you've got just a statue. They have these statues all throughout Monroe, and they're just built by local artists, and here they are. We just have them all throughout Monroe, so you can kind of walk around and try to find those fun statues throughout all of downtown. And it's just one of those fun little reminders that this isn't just your ordinary city. You've got fun people here. You've got really cool community. It's just something, that's what you're looking for. It's great to know that. Now, to kind of give a little bit of a con, I guess, in Monroe, is it is further away. So if you are traveling places, if you do commute a lot, I mentioned this earlier, but the commute can be a little bit rough. It's, if you're commuting all the way into Atlanta, you're an hour 20, hour 30, depending on what part of Atlanta. It's a farther drive because it is out there, but you are close to Athens, but you have to commute into Athens, which is, again, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, depending on traffic. So it's good to keep in mind, the location could be a con or a pro for you. It's just something to keep in mind as you're making, trying to decide where to move. All right, so this is another one of the parks that are here in Monroe, Georgia. And this park is this whole walking trails you've got all throughout. You can see behind me, walk all the way back there. And it's actually built in a specific reason, because you might see this energy plan and be like, why is there a park right next to that? And the whole idea is it's actually because they're showcasing that Monroe actually owns their own utilities. So all their utilities, water, electricity, all that stuff, is actually owned by Walton County or Monroe. And that's part of the thing that they're showcasing right there. Is this is part of that whole thing, which is what you'll find in the pro of Monroe is that the utilities tend to be a little more affordable compared to other counties and other cities. So as for a small town feel, that's great to know that, hey, my affordability is pretty good because you can find a home here and you can also get affordable utility. You're not paying super a ton on that. The other fun thing about this park I do want to mention is right down there, you kind of see to where the utility end on the other side of that. During Christmas time, they actually showcase a bunch of Christmas lights. So it's a really fun little area to go walk through, but also just drive by. It just helps with that, small town charm. It's a great little thing to do as the community. So be sure to look for that once when Christmas comes around. Another thing that's very important for those that are looking at this with a family and kids in school is to check out the public schools. Now, I always recommend that people do their own research, because you can go check it out like on niche.com, go look at Monroe or best schools, all those areas to keep in mind what's going to be best for your child, for your children, because the public schools may be great in one area, but find out, it's not great for your kids. Other places, it might not be as great, but it actually works out really well for your kids. So always be sure to check out those schools, especially because with Monroe, you're in like the Walton County area. So it's just good to know, okay, what does Monroe offer in terms of school? They do have a lot of schools here. So you're not just like having to drive to a whole nother city. It is here in Monroe. So, go check out those. Be sure to look at that stuff and do your research a little bit on that. All right, now we're going to go take a look at some of the neighborhoods here in Monroe. So I've kind of moved a little bit, about 5 minutes from downtown at our first location. This home is listed at $300,000, and it's, as I mentioned, 5 minutes away. It's 1,300 square feet, built back in 1972. So it's kind of one of those older homes, and it's something that could be a fun project for you. Be able to go turn it into, your dream home, anything like that. But you've got the brick home right here. It's got the the fenced-in backyard, and yeah, it's a 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. $300,000 right here, about 5 minutes from Monroe. It's a little toasty today. Something to keep in mind if you are new to Georgia is the days change. This morning it was like 60 degrees outside, and now it's pretty hot, where I'm going from like sweating to kind of like the shade is out, it's still really good. But if you're not used to humidity, just know that all these areas, Georgia, it's humid here, and so it's just nice to kind of have that in mind, especially if you're not used to that stuff, because it's gonna happen. But anyways, let's move on to the next neighborhood that's just about 10 minutes from here. So we're gonna jump right over to there. All right, we're on our second location. This neighborhood is an HOA location, an HOA neighborhood. You can see all the manicured lawns in this neighborhood, very nice, cut clean. You got the sidewalks throughout it, and this home is right at the end of a cul-de-sac in this neighborhood. It's right now listed at $525,000 for a little over 2,600 square feet with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. Now, this home it's fairly new. It was built back in 2017, so not even 10 years old. As you can see right now, let's take a step back without I'm blocking it. But you can see, there's the home right there. Right at the center of this cul-de-sac, you can see right in this cul-de-sac, this nice quiet area. And you can tell, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's a much bigger home, as you can see. The last home we were in that neighborhood is a little bit older of a neighborhood. This is a much newer neighborhood here in Monroe. And you're going to find that a lot. Monroe has kind of that wide variety from old historic homes to the kind of the newer homes, as it is growing, and it's this growing city. So you're going to see that mix, and it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're wanting an older style home, maybe more closer to the downtown area, right off Main Street, you're going to find that. If you're wanting a newer home built, in kind of these neighborhoods with the sidewalks and kind of that HOA and all that stuff, like this home right behind me, of course, you can find that. 2,600 square feet, lots of space, lots of house. Actually just under half an acre as well. So you do have quite a bit of space, and it's of course in this very quiet neighborhood, about 10 minutes from downtown Monroe. So, just another option as a home to kind of consider. And when you're looking at these homes here in Monroe, you just weigh out your options of what you're wanting to look for. I'm gonna step over this mud or slip. Weigh out those options of, do you want kind of that older style home, something built back in the 1900s, or do you want a home that's built more new, it has the kind of the newer features, newer insulation, like all that stuff. It's that newer home versus the older home. And then you got the projects you can work on, but you can make it your own, but you have that fun style. Lots of things to consider, but there are all those options here in Monroe. You're not just, hey, it's just new homes or it's just historic homes. You've got kind of a mix. And so our last home we're going to jump to, and this last neighborhood. But before we go there, just kind of check out this neighborhood and see, kind of get a good idea of what this neighborhood looks like. So we'll see you at the next home. Here we are in our final home in the Monroe kind of community tour, showing you all these little areas. So this last home is in a community that's actually on a golf course, right next to a golf course. So you're going to be able to, if you love to golf, a great option, right? For you're really good. But this home is actually going to be about double the size of the homes we've seen. Well, a little bit more. It's just under 5,000 square feet, listed at $850,000. It's a 6-bedroom, 5-bathroom home. And as you can see, as we're coming up to it, it's this all brick home right here. Very nice at the end of a cul-de-sac. So, you got that seclusion. And as you can see in the neighborhood, everybody is very nice, very quiet neighborhood. Lots of nice manicured lawns, everybody's taking care of their things. And I mean, brick home. it's kind of the classic Georgia home right there. And so that's just, another option in our home tour. That's going to be definitely the most expensive, much bigger home. It's actually just under an acre as well. And so that's our last home on this tour. And now, if you're looking to move to Monroe, whether it is in 9 days or even 90 days or even 900, whatever it is, we would love to be able to help you make that move as smooth as possible. And so feel free to reach out to us, give me a call. Here's my number down on the screen. As well, you can feel free to just comment down below or reach out to us, get us a consultation. We'd love to be able to schedule a call with you and help you make that move as smooth as possible. Now, until the next video, we hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.